everybody, welcome back to the channel, and these are my Week 6 picks of the 2025 NFL season. Now, lots of upsets in Week 5, very interesting week, as I was just 7-7, so not a very good week, lots of upsets. There were a couple I wish I had back, but, you know, it is what it is. You're not going to be great every single week. And yet, because apparently I know nothing about football and because my takes suck, all you, quote, experts still, for some reason, aren't coming up with better picks than me if it's so easy. Weird. Anyway, these are my Week 6 picks. Just need a better week, and hopefully this can be the week for it to happen. We got two teams on the bye this week. I think it's Minnesota and Houston that are on the bye. But decent amount of games. Let's have a better week, better bounce back. Let's get on to it. And kicking things off, we got the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. This one is on Thursday night in East Rutherford. So the Eagles finally lost a game, their first loss in 23 games where Jalen Hurts started and finished. They had a 17-3 lead on the Broncos on Sunday and lost 21-17. Granted, I think the Broncos got away with defensive pass interference, but that's not the reason that Philly lost the game. Because there was something that I saw on a NFL, or was it a Good Morning Football, where they said that in every game this season, Philadelphia has been getting outgained in every game this year, but yet they're 4-1 on the season. So really, that just shows how great the Eagles are. I mean, I find it kind of hard to say who the best team in the league is. Like, Philly would probably be my number one choice, but even then, they have a few small cracks. They aren't huge flaws, but they're still worth talking about. I think they've been playing a little conservative to start off the year. I don't know, maybe it's just a slow start to the season, and they're still finding ways to win. But regardless, they've looked a little conservative, and, you know, maybe they just needed to lose for once, and they needed a loss like that to a good Broncos team to fall back to earth a little bit. But I don't see them having any trouble against the New York Giants. And so, for that matter, I am actually locking up the Eagles this week. If there's one team that the Eagles always just dominate against, it's the Giants. And I don't see Philly having any trouble against the Giants. Like, the Giants lost to the Saints, okay? They had a 14-3 lead on the Saints. New York turned the ball over on 5 straight possessions against arguably the worst team in the NFL. That's all you need to know right there. Now they're going up against the defending champs who are 4-1. They're coming in pretty angry in this game, I imagine. And MetLife is going to be overran by Eagles fans. Yeah, I'm taking Philadelphia to win, and as I said, they're my lock of the week. Okay, next up we got our second game in London between the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets, as this is game number 2 in London. So, as I just mentioned a couple seconds ago, the Denver Broncos went into Philadelphia, of all places, and pulled off a miraculous 21-17 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, and this win right here really might have saved Denver's season, as they're 3-2 on the year. You want to talk about a game that the Broncos definitely needed. That was it right there, as they got it done over the Philadelphia Eagles. Nice comeback win right there. New York Jets, nothing can go right for them. They're 0-5 on the year. Yeah, I think this is another no-brainer right here. I'm taking the Denver Broncos to win this game. The only reason this isn't my lock of the week is because, while this may have turned a corner for the Broncos season right here, and they get back to looking like the team that I expected them to be this year. I expected them to be about a 12-win team this year. And a win against Philadelphia could be justifiable with that. The only reason this isn't my lock of the week is because I think in order to beat the Denver Broncos, you have to have Justin Fields beat you vertically, and his legs are an X factor. I don't think Fields is able to beat you vertically, and Denver's rush defense is, and their defense in general, is just among one of the best in the league. So for that matter, I think Denver wins this game pretty soundly, improves to 4-2, gets their second straight win, dropping the hopeless New York Jets to 0-6. And Aaron Glenn continues to just not live up to the hype, or lack thereof, that the Jets had. So give me Denver to win this one handily over the Jets. Back to the United States, as we got the 1 o'clock Eastern Time slate of games. We got the Arizona Cardinals and the Indianapolis Colts. The Cardinals, yeah, you fooled me big time. You're 2-3 on the year. You blew a 21-6 lead against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, who had lost their last 9 road games going into that game, and Arizona had a pretty stingy defense going into that game. The Titans basically had gone a full season's worth of losing on the road going into that game, and you blew a 21-6 lead on them with a rookie quarterback, and you lost. You had that ridiculous touchdown where it was picked off, fumbled in the end zone, and returned by the Titans. Once again, you had that touchback where the players celebrated the touchdown too early, like the Colts did against the Rams the week before. I don't know why players keep doing that. Like, did they not learn anything from Deshaun Jackson? Like, seriously. How do players keep making that mistake? Wait till you cross the plane. Ridiculous. And Arizona is 2-3. All 3 of their losses were by walk-off field goals. Kyler Murray got hurt in the game too. Status is unknown. But I think regardless of Kyler Murray plays or not, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. Because Indianapolis, so I have a legitimate question here. Was Daniel Jones always this good? Or does simply leaving the Giants instantly make you a better player? I'm honestly having a hard time deciding. I lean a little more towards the latter, because you could say the same thing with Saquon Barkley, but the difference is we all knew Barkley was great. Nobody thought Daniel Jones was good. And Indianapolis, they just look like a complete team. They're 4-1 on the year. They have a very good dual-threat offense, led by Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, who had 3 touchdowns last week in a 40-6 win over Vegas. Indianapolis' defense has been dominant all season so far. They only allow 17 points a game, and with Arizona, the potential they have on offense, and they just can't find a rhythm with it, going against that Colts defense, I think Indy wins this game pretty handily regardless of who the Cardinals start. So I'm taking Indianapolis to win this one over the Cardinals. Rams and the Ravens. This one is in Baltimore, as the Rams lost a tough one last Thursday to the 49ers in overtime, where I agree they should have went for it on that 4th down 26-23. It's just the execution I disagree with, and a nice stop by the 49er defense in the clutch. And the Rams cooled off a bit. They're 3-2 on the season. Still looking pretty good, still playing some good football, but for whatever reason, they just always struggle against the 49ers. And big advantage for the Rams right away. They have 3 days of rest, and even though they're flying out to the East, still, 3 days of rest works very much in their favor. They are taking on the Baltimore Ravens, who are 1-4, and they got absolutely manhandled by a 1-3 football team. You know, find it funny that Ravens fans say, oh, the Steelers have a cakewalk schedule. Really? We're not the ones losing 44-10 to a 1-3 football team. So what's wrong? It's just the 1-3 Texans. You know? Yeah, I know you don't have Lamar because he got a boo-boo against the Kansas City Chiefs, but, like, still, I thought Todd Monken instantly made the Ravens offense the best offense in the league. You got Mark Andrews, you got Zay Flowers, you got Bateman, you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got a top 10 offensive line, you got Derrick Henry, who's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's at least top 15 in most rushing yards all time, in most rushing categories by a running back all time, and yet he's considered no weapons on that stacked Baltimore offense? Weird. And you're 1-4. But, yeah, all trash talk aside, I think LA wins this one pretty easily. I really don't care if Lamar is going to be playing in this game for the Ravens. I doubt he is, but I would think regardless if Lamar plays or not, I'm still going to go with LA. The reason? LA's offense, with the 3 days rest factor right there, is still a very solid group. The Ravens are actually on pace to have a historically awful defense, which is unacceptable if you're a Ravens fan, because the Ravens are a proud franchise when it comes to defense, and you're on pace to allow 600 points this season. I am not kidding. 600 points. Okay? Ravens allow the most passing yards in the league, and we all know what Matthew Stafford's capable of doing with an offense that he has. I think LA, the 2 losses they had, they just let those 2 get away from them, blew a massive lead against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then they let one get away against them against the 49ers. Like, with Baltimore, if they can't chip away and get first downs with their no weapons that they have on offense, then they can't be a contingent offense, and they're going up against a team like the Rams that definitely have that type of offense. You know? Air attack type of offense going up against a defense that's dead last, allowing 35 points a game. Yeah, with or without Lamar, I am taking the Rams to win this one soundly over the Ravens, drop them to 1-5. LA gets back on track with a win, and they go to 4-2. Little bit trickier than I thought between the Seattle Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up right here. So yeah, this one's a little tricky right here because on one hand, the Seahawks are playing way better than everybody thought. They're 3-2 on the season, and they lost a tough one to Tampa Bay where they blew a lead against them, but even though the Seahawks defense was their calling card going into that one, their offense actually put up a really good game as well, you know? So, yeah, Seattle playing a lot better than what people thought, and apparently Seattle can hang in there in a shootout game. They scored 35 points, which should be enough to win you a game, but you know, Tampa's offense is just so deep, and they're able to beat you in so many ways, and they can come back from a deficit, and they handed Seattle a tough loss. Then you got Jacksonville, who's 4-1. They won it last night over Kansas City, and I am recording this on Monday night, but yeah, Jacksonville beat the Chiefs to go to 4-1, so credit where it's due. Trevor Lawrence actually had a nice game against Kansas City, but that's the thing. Anytime I give Trevor Lawrence credit for having a nice game, he always comes back the next week and turns in a below average to mediocre game for a pretty prolonged stretch period of time. So that's why I just can't get on board with Trevor Lawrence. Even though Jacksonville, their offense has potential to be an elite, in my opinion, an elite core in the league, you know. They have a lot of turnover issues on the season, and see, with Jacksonville, if you're able to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence and you're able to make him make decisions on a whim, then I think you're able to beat Jacksonville and you're able to expose his weaknesses. And unfortunately, Seattle definitely has the defense that can do that. I think this game is going to come down to who wins at the battle of the line of scrimmage, who can run the ball better, and overall who I trust more in a shootout. And if you ask me right now, even though they lost, I think that team is Seattle. So normally in an instance like this, I would pick the home team. And like, if Jacksonville was playing just about anybody else, I probably would pick them this week. But I am going to go ahead and take the Seahawks to win this one, just because, like I said, I like Seattle's defense in this one. I think that they're able to bring that physicality and make Trevor Lawrence really think right there, and they're able to cause pressure on him. So, you know, a Mike McDonald-led defense going up against Jacksonville, I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Seattle to win this game, improve to 4-2, dropping Jacksonville to 4-2. But this is a sneaky good game this week between the Seahawks and Jaguars. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. This one is down in Charlotte. And I don't think I need to say anything more here. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys to win this one. They got the number 2 offense in the league currently. And Carolina, they are down Chuba Hubbard in this game, or he's at least banged up in this game, and his status may be unknown. But yeah, it's still a loss for Carolina in my opinion, because if you have Chuba Hubbard, he's not going to be 100% in this game. And then, obviously, you may not even have him at all. And him and Rico Dowdle are really capable of opening up those play-action type of plays for Carolina so they can take a little bit of pressure off of Bryce Young. Because I think the thing is that they're relying too much on Bryce Young to have them win a game. And Bryce Young just hasn't proven that he's capable of doing that just yet for Carolina. Their defense pitched a shutout against Atlanta, so obviously there's a lot of pressure taken off of Bryce Young right there. They had that great comeback against the Dolphins, sure, but like I said, a lot of that had to do with the lanes being opened up for the run game right there, and now that they probably might not have Chuba Hubbard in this game, that's a problem for Carolina. So, yeah, defense, considering they were allowing over 32 points a year last year, they were the worst-ranked defense in the league last year, and it has shown improvement, okay? Not taking anything away from Carolina. They have shown improvement, all right? But it's only 5 weeks in the season. Let's see how they stack up against a top 3 offense in the league. But I am going to lean more towards the Dallas Cowboys to win this one and get to 3-2-1 on the season. And Carolina, I believe that would put them at 2-4, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys to win this one. Oh boy. Next up, we got my matchup. The Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field. So the Browns are 1-4 on the year. They dropped a close game in London to the Vikings last Sunday, and they're 1-4. Dylan Gabriel got his first NFL start, and it was a pretty game managery type game for him, as you'd expect a lot of rookie quarterbacks to have. You know, he was there to just limit the mistakes, keep the ball out of harm's way, and to his credit, he did that. I didn't see him do anything particularly dumb with the ball. You know, he just looked like a rookie out there just being a game manager. But, yeah, it was just the Browns' offense is more of the same. They can't get any consistency, and it's going to lead to the defense being tired up. And, you know, like, if the Browns had an offense and if they had a quarterback, this team could be a lot better. But it's just more of the same for the Browns. They can't find any consistency on offense because they actually have a really good defense. So, yeah, typical Browns right there. Jerry Jeudy did get banged up in the game, and he's not going to be 100%. And I think if the Browns are going to have a chance, they're going to have Junkins, the rookie, open up a lot of the rush lanes right there with their offensive line, because this Steeler rush defense is horrendous. And our defense in general, very underwhelming. Steelers won a game in Ireland a couple weeks ago against the Vikings. 24-21, had no business being a 3-point game, because literally the Steelers had a 24-6 lead in the fourth quarter. Vikings got 15 points in a matter of like 10 minutes. And I agree with a lot of people are grilling the Steelers for going for it on 4th and goal. I agree with it, but I don't agree with the execution because you're there to win. Like, even if you don't get it, you're pinning the Vikings you're pinning the Vikings back to where they need to go 90-plus yards to get a touchdown or even a field goal to tie the game, okay? So, I agree with going for on 4th and goal. I just don't agree with the execution. But then, our defense, the most expensive defense in the NFL, the secondary, somehow misses their assignment on Jordan Addison, has a massive gain, nearly takes it the entire way for a touchdown. How does that happen? How is there still so much miscommunication on the secondary that you can't cover a guy and you can't knock a ball down, because that should easily have been broken up? Should easily have been broken up, should easily, at the very least, should have been about a 15-yard gain, okay? Not like an 80-plus yard gain. Just inexcusable. I mean, the Steelers can just never, ever close out a game. They can never put someone away. No matter who's on the roster, no matter who's on the defense, no matter who the coordinators are, no matter what the situation is, it doesn't matter. They always have to find a way to make it closer than it should. It's inexcusable. And then you got the big one. So, the Steelers have the ball. You make it 3rd and 1. It's not like Minnesota stopped you on a play earlier to stuff you to make it 4th and 1. Then I would be a little more understanding of the next thing. But you have the ball, it's 3rd and 1. You're in 4-down territory. Minnesota has no timeouts left. They just scored a touchdown to make it a 3-point game. At that point, you are in win now mode. You are in seal the game mode. You have the ball in 4-down territory, up 3. Minnesota is out of timeouts. They literally cannot stop the clock. All you need to do is have Aaron Rodgers fall forward, pick up a 1st down, and then kneel and drain the clock and win the game. Instead, Mike Dumlin takes a delay of game penalty, pushes the Steelers back 5 yards, and they punt on 4th and 6. Vikings get the ball back. There should have been an interception, but the stupid catch rule said that he didn't have control of the ball as he was stepping out of bounds. And then, of course, Tomlin gets bailed out yet again because Carson Wentz is a backup quarterback who can't get the job done in situations like that. So yeah, Tomlin makes a game closer than it should for about the 1,000th time in his career, and he gets bailed out by the opponent forgetting how to play football. Oh, how does Mike Tomlin do this, you say? Well, that's how he, quote, does it. Because his opponent inexplicably forgets how to play football at the most convenient time for the Steelers, and they just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Now, granted, DK Metcalf had an amazing game against Minnesota. A beautiful 80-yard touchdown right there for DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers did okay. Nothing amazing, nothing to look twice at, but he did enough to win the game, okay? But you're playing the Cleveland Browns, who are 1-4, and they have a really tough defense, and they're starting a rookie quarterback, and they can't beat you in Pittsburgh. Alright, sure, this screams a game the Steelers should blow the Browns out with. But, you know, Tomlin has to make the game closer than it should. The Steelers got to make it way closer than it should. The Steelers flew back to the States and had their bye week, so they're pretty well rested coming in this game, all things considered. And they stay at home taking on the Browns. But no, they got to make it close so Tomlin can get called a clutch coach. Am I right? Long story short, I got the Steelers winning this game, but this is going to be my spread of the week. I got the Browns covering here. 24-22, Steelers win, but I'm taking the Browns with the points. Because this is just what the Steelers do. They fuck around, they make a game closer than it should, and then somehow the opponent will just forget how to play football, So Tomlin can get called a winner, people can slurp off of him some more, and they can call him the best coach of all time, never had a losing season, and then people wonder why the Steelers get KO'd in the wild card. Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers to win, but I got the Browns covering. Next, we got the Chargers and the Dolphins. This one is down in Miami. Another pretty tricky one right here. As the thing with Tua is, what Tua are we going to get? Because there's the Tua that is complete dog shit and looks like he doesn't even belong in the NFL. And then there's the Tua who's the only reason that Miami is even in a game. So it's a big conundrum with Tua once again. I said in my video that I made about a week or so before the season began about why your favorite NFL team won't win the Super Bowl. I said that Tua would be the reason the Dolphins aren't going to win a Super Bowl, and it's games like the last 2 or 3 weeks that showcase why. He is the biggest conundrum with the Dolphins. He is simultaneously the biggest reason Miami is competitive and the biggest reason that they lose. Okay? You never know what you're going to get with Tua. You know? As for the Chargers, they are 2 straight losers right now. They're 3-2, blown out at home by Washington, 27-10. If either of these teams are going to get in a shootout, I really don't know who to go with right here. Because on one hand, Miami, their O-line really needs an answer for aggressive defenses and aggressive fronts, and that's something that LA has. But at the same time, the Chargers offensively, I don't know if they're capable of winning these types of shootouts right here, because Justin Herbert really simmered down after a really strong start to the season. He had that terrible game against the Giants, and then he didn't do much against Washington either. And now, LA can add Omarion Hampton to their plethora of injuries because he suffered an ankle injury against Washington, and he was put on IR. And that really stinks because I wanted Omarion Hampton. So now he's going to miss playing time, and now the Chargers really just don't have anything as far as a run game goes. So now people can go like, oh, poor Justin Herbert, you know, he has nothing to work with, when he had stuff to, quote, work with before, and he was still playing at a pretty below average level before. So people can just throw the pity card at Justin Herbert some more. But, you know, he still has a really good defense, and I think that's my deciding factor here. Again, typically a game like this, I tend to go with the home team, but I still think I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to give them one last chance here, and if they blow this game somehow, I'm probably going to start picking against LA some more. It's because I simply just don't think this is a game that favors Tua a whole lot. You know, I don't think this is a game that favors him because he's going up against an aggressive front in LA, and I don't know. I just think the Chargers defense is the X factor here. More of I don't trust Miami more than I trust LA here, so I'm going to take the Chargers to snap their winning streak, but I'm keeping my eye on this game for upset watch. Patriots and the Saints down in New Orleans. So, since when did Drake May and Stephon Diggs look like Big Ben to Antonio Brown? Because the Patriots went into Buffalo and they knocked off the Bills 23-20 behind a great game by Drake May and Stephon Diggs in particular. Ramondre Stevenson still having issues fumbling the ball, but despite that, New England got the job done. And their defense played well through the first 3 quarters of the game. But, you know, it's a tall order to limit a guy like Josh Allen in that Buffalo offense. So, New England got the job done, and they're surprisingly 3-2 on the year. And the Saints got their first win of the season and their first win in the last 8 games, and Spencer Rattler's first win as a starter. They beat the Giants 26-14, a game in which the Saints were down 14-3 at one point. And then, as I said earlier, the Giants had 5 straight possessions where they turned the ball over, including an 87-yard fumble 6 return by the Saints. They also had a blown coverage touchdown to make it 14-13. And really, it was more of the Giants' misuses for why the Saints won, but still, let Saints fans have this game. It's probably like one of the few games that they're going to have to celebrate all year. But, yeah, New England, sure, they make a lot of mistakes with the ball, too. Just see Week 3 against us, where New England turned the ball over 5 times and the Steelers only won by 7 points. So, New England, they're prone to making mistakes on offense, too, but based on what I saw on Sunday night, I did not see a Patriots team that was careless with the ball. I saw a Patriots team that has an underrated offense, and their defense is strong enough to limit even the best quarterbacks in this game to having pretty average games, kind of like what they did in the Brady-Belichick era. But, Belichick apparently gets no credit for the Patriots dynasty. It was all Tom Brady, But anyway, I am going to go ahead and take the Pats to win this one to get the 4-2 on the year. The Saints, they're just a really bad team, and I don't see them benefiting from a team misusing the ball in back-to-back weeks. I'm going to take New England to win this one. Next, we got the later slate of games, and we got the Titans and the Raiders in Vegas, and this is undoubtedly my toilet bowl of the week right here. Tennessee got their first road win in like 2 years, and they're 1-4 on the year. And credit where it's due, Cam Ward actually looked good in that game because finally his offensive line was able to give him time to breathe in the pocket, where before they were giving him nothing to work with whatsoever, and he was the most sacked quarterback in NFL history through the first 4 weeks of the season. So that's a huge upgrade for the Tennessee Titans right there. And they're gaining some momentum. They rallied from a 21-6 deficit and beat the Cardinals in Arizona on a last-second field goal. Now they're playing the Raiders, who are 1-4 on the year as well, and nothing's been going right for them since they beat the Patriots in Week 1. They got blown away by the Colts 40-6 in Indianapolis, and Geno Smith continues to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You never know what you're getting out of this guy. Geno Smith now has 9 interceptions on the year, which leads the NFL. So, you never know what you're going to get with Geno Smith. These are two offenses that are absolutely anemic, but I think the Raiders fare a little slightly better. I don't know, just because Tennessee just continues to stall out offensively, and I think Arizona just got way too conservative with that lead, whereas despite Pete Carroll having the worst record through 5 games of his career, I don't think Pete Carroll's going to get that conservative with a lead. I think that opponents are going to be like, wow, okay, so this Titans team and this Cam Ward kid can come back from a deficit. We can't give him that chance again. We got to make his life as miserable as possible. So, for that matter, I am unsure who to pick, so because I have to pick someone, I'm just going to go with the home team just because I have to pick someone. I'm going to take Vegas to win this game. I can't see Tennessee winning 2 straight on the road, so I am going to go with the Raiders to win this one just because I don't care about this game and I have to pick someone to win. Next, we got, in my opinion, Game of the Week. Hell of a transition from Toilet Bowl to Game of the Week. 49ers and the Bucs down in Tampa Bay. So I said that the 49ers in the offseason, I wasn't going to be so kind to them this time because of all the injuries they had. And all San Francisco's doing right now is starting the year off 4-1, and their offense is actually playing pretty well. And despite the laundry list of injuries that they've had, on defense especially, even with Nick Bosa tearing his ACL, the 49ers are somehow, some way, 4-1 on the year, and they are looking like a really good team. So I will absolutely give San Francisco credit. Mac Jones is even dealing it right there. It just shows how great of a coach that Kyle Shanahan is. And it's not like the 49ers have been beating up some bums. They beat a better than we expected Seahawks team in Week 1. And they just beat a very good LA team in LA last Thursday. Now they had a mini bye. They had a 3 days rest period. And sure, they're flying down to Tampa to play the Bucs, but that 3 days of rest works well in San Francisco's favor. That's already a big advantage for them. But then you got those Buccaneers who are 4-1 on the year as well. Amazing comeback against the Seahawks, and all 4 of Tampa's wins so far have been via a comeback win. I said last week they are like the comeback kids this year. So they came back again. The Bucs are just a really gritty team. Baker Mayfield, amazing game. He went 29-33, and he is the first quarterback ever to throw 2 touchdown passes with less than 5 incompletions in a win. Still think Baker Mayfield's not an MVP type quarterback? Do I think he'll win MVP this year? I don't know. Too early to tell, but Baker Mayfield is absolutely an MVP contender. If the Bucs don't have even a decent quarterback, they're probably like 2-3 at best. So it just shows you how valuable it is to have a good quarterback in this league. Now, Tampa is dealing with injuries as well, as I believe Mike Evans is still down. But when Mike Evans is down, the Bucs' weapons are stepping up as well. Egbuka and Godwin especially. So this is a really deep Tampa offense right here. Even Bucky Irving has been stepping up. So, yeah, this is the best game of the week in my opinion. You got a strong defense going up against a team that if you put them in a deficit, I feel like they're going to come back and beat you. They're never down. So, who do I have winning this game? Well, for the past couple weeks, I had Tampa being my team to be the upset team of the week. But this time, they're going to be on the other end of it. I am taking the 49ers to upset the Bucs. Now Tampa's on the receiving end of the upset. Because, like I said, all the 49ers have been doing is winning games. They have been finding way to close out games. They have been finding ways to be resilient. Kyle Shanahan continues to work his magic. And San Francisco, I think they are a legit contender if they keep this up. And Tampa, they have all comeback wins, yes, but their one loss was to the defending champs, where they were in a deficit and they tried to make it a game, but it was to no avail. I think if they get in a deficit against San Francisco with the defense they got and the resilience they have, I don't think they're going to come back here. So I am going to take the 49ers to get to 5-1 on the season and hand Tampa their second loss in a very good game down in Tampa. Give me the 49ers to upset the Buccaneers. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. No hesitation needed here. I am taking the Packers. They are off their bye week. They are well rested, while the Bengals are absolute garbage. Don't let that score fool you. It was 37-24 Detroit. The Lions had a 28-3 lead in the fourth quarter, and in the third quarter rather. And the Bengals, they just got a bunch of garbage time points. So the Bengals are garbage. Jake Browning, why is that guy even still the backup quarterback? Like, I don't think Russell Wilson is the answer for a backup either, but he's a hell of a lot better than Jake Browning. So, yeah, this is a no contest here. A well-rested Packer team, and I feel like Green Bay is going to be very pissed off going into this game. Their defense keeps things in check, and Jake Browning still plays for the Bengals. I think Green Bay is going to have no trouble whatsoever right here. I am going to go ahead and take the Packers to get their first win since week 2. They're coming off of that tie against the Cowboys where they should have played for the win, but they decided to let it tie instead. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and take Green Bay to win this one pretty soundly over the Bengals. Next, we got another great game right here. A Super Bowl matchup that a lot of people want to see. Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. If you want to talk about who the best team in the NFL is, Detroit is a strong contender for that. They're 4-1 on the year, averaging 40 points a game since week 2. They have the number 1 offense in the league, and this Lions team is absolutely roaring. They have scored the most points through the first 5 weeks in franchise history, all without Ben Johnson. So the people who say that the Lions needed Ben Johnson and it was a mistake to get rid of him, step on up and show yourselves. This Detroit team is absolutely a Super Bowl contender, and they're just here to stay, man. Sonic and Knuckles gashing through defenses, Jared Goff putting together a nice season, and Detroit, they are no slouch defensively either. This team is absolutely built for a deep playoff run. As for Kansas City, they're 2-3 on the season. The Chiefs dropped a tough one to Jacksonville on Monday night, and the Chiefs are looking a little vulnerable. I mean, like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button with the Chiefs yet because I still think it's early in the season and I think that they still have a ways to go, but Kansas City does have a tough schedule coming up ahead of them, and there's a strong possibility that through 7 weeks, Kansas City could be looking at 2-5. If the Chiefs start off 2-5, I think it might be time to hit the panic button, but I'm holding off on it for right now because the Chiefs, it looks like offensively they're back in it, but the defense, I don't know. Defense has been their savior, and it has been the reason they've been staying above water. But Kansas City, like, they're not built for a shootout. They're not built to blow you out. Detroit is. Kansas City is built for close games. But I think the magic number for Kansas City is that I think the magic number to beat Kansas City is 24. Now, sure, Jacksonville got 7 points off of a 99-yard pick six. So, defensively, Kansas City only allowed 24 points. But that just proves my point more. 24 is the number to beat Kansas City. This Lions team is averaging 40 points a game since week 2. Xavier Worthy is back, yes, for Kansas City, but he's still rusty. He needs to open up the pass game for Mahomes because as of this recording, Patrick Mahomes still leads the team in rushing. That cannot happen. Mahomes is absolutely one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. But when he is your leading rusher and he is asked to carry the entire team, that's not good. It leads to Kansas City's defense getting tired, and while they do have the defense to edge out Detroit, if you're asking Mahomes to be the leading rusher and carry the entire team, that's not good. Whereas Detroit, Jared Goff doesn't have as much pressure on him to carry the team. He's got Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. He's got a great set of receivers. He's got a nice offensive line. And as I said, Detroit ain't no slouch on defense either. This Lions team is just complete. And Kansas City is 2-3. I don't know if their dynasty is over with or if it's just a slow start to the year. I think it's just a slow start. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit to win on Sunday night. I think the Lions come away with this win. I think they're a more complete team than Kansas City. I think they have more of an identity. They definitely have the team that punches you in the mouth and can put Kansas City in a deficit, like Philadelphia did to them the past 2 times. Hell, even like the Chargers did back in week 1. And even Jacksonville came back and won. So, yeah, I'm taking Detroit to go to 5-1, keep it rolling. The well-oiled machine up there keeps things going, and like I said, magic number 24. Detroit can easily surpass that. I'm taking the Lions to beat the Chiefs. Then we got 2 Monday night games. First up, we got the Bills and the Falcons down in Atlanta, so Buffalo on primetime once again. Buffalo, they got humbled against the Patriots. They lost their first game of the year. They're 4-1 on the year. Buffalo's still a fantastic team, but the Bills, you know, they had some slow games the weeks before. Like, they had that game against the Saints where they won, but the Saints hung in there with them a little bit. And even the week before against the Dolphins where they won by 10, but the Bills still let the Dolphins in that game a bit. And, you know, kind of like the Eagles, when you play conservative, eventually you're going to lose a game. And I think that's what happened to Buffalo. They were down 10 points at one point to New England, and Buffalo made it interesting, but the Patriots just kept their foot on the pedal and never let off, and Buffalo got a humble check and lost. Buffalo had won 13 in a row at home going into that game, and they had scored 30 or more in every game this season, and they came away with only 20 points. Josh Allen still playing at an MVP level, but he was not amazing on Sunday. Like I said, Buffalo looked very conservative against New England, and like I said, like Philadelphia, I think that's just a wake-up call for the Bills right there. It's like, hey, you know what? Josh Allen can't do it all. We can't stop being so conservative. We can't let teams keep hanging in with us. We gotta keep our foot on the pedal the whole game. So, not too much to worry about for the Bills. They're still a fantastic team, but let's see what Sean McDermott can do to rally the team together. As for Atlanta, they're coming off their bye week. They are well rested. They're staying at home, so I think that works as a favor for Atlanta. So Buffalo, they need to be careful here because the Falcons, they definitely have a good offense. They just need more consistency right here, and Atlanta needs to limit the mistakes as well. They are, I think, 2-2 on the season. They're coming off a nice win against Washington. But regardless, I am going to go ahead and take the Bills to win this one. I think that they just washed the taste of a bad loss out of their mouth right here, whereas Atlanta, I just simply cannot trust them. So I think Buffalo is just top to bottom a better team than Atlanta. They're a more consistent team than the Falcons are, and I'm taking the Bills to beat the Falcons here to get the 5-1. And then wrapping up Week 6, we got the second Monday night game. We got the Bears and the Redskins in Washington. If you remember, the last time these two played, it was last year when Jayden Daniels had that Hail Mary in the last second against the Bears to win the game for Washington. And in that play, Tyreek Stevenson stupidly taunted the crowd, and he was ironically responsible for that Hail Mary when he could have easily batted it down. And the Bears' season just spun out of control from there. So, yeah, Chicago, they're looking like a better team now. They're coming off their bye as well, so they're pretty well rested. They are 2-2. They are coming off of a win, I believe, against the Raiders back in Week 4, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jayden Daniels, he looks improved. He looks good, but he's just simply not a dual threat type of quarterback where Jayden Daniels is. So, yeah, I mean, that's a plus for Chicago right there, but their defense, how does their defense handle an offense that's capable of stacking up points in bunches and getting a lot of yards? Because if they struggled against a team like the Raiders, I don't know how they're going to be able to fare against a team like Washington, who definitely has top 10 or even top 5 offensive capabilities. I don't know if Terry McLaurin is going to be playing this game for Washington. We'll see about that, but I really don't think it matters. Washington has shown that they can win with or without Jayden Daniels. That shows what kind of an offensive system they run, how well coached they are, and really how far they've improved as a franchise since Dan Snyder sold the team, and now they're under new ownership. Winning culture in Washington. So, despite the Bears coming off their bye and Washington coming off a convincing win and a confident boosting win against the Chargers, I think they make it 2 in a row right here, and they get it done over the Chicago Bears. I think the Bears make it a good game. I think their defense does what they can, but in the end, I just think that Washington is just going to tire out that defense right there, and they win it in the end. So give me Washington to beat the Bears to get to 4-2. There you have it. Those are my Week 6 picks of the 2025 NFL season. Let's hope for a better week. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.